Hi everyone, my name is Lily and today I'll be talking about Huntington's disease. Before we get started, you might notice this flower on the slide. This is the amaryllis and is actually a symbol for Huntington's disease awareness. It represents strength and hope for families and individuals affected by the condition, which I think is a really beautiful way to start this topic. So, what exactly is Huntington's disease? Huntington's is an inherited neurological disorder, meaning it's passed down through families. It causes the gradual breakdown and death of nerve cells or neurons in certain parts of the brain. This primarily affects the areas that control voluntary movement, so things like walking, speaking, or even facial expressions can become more difficult over time. Huntington's disease falls into three main categories: movement, cognitive, and emotional. Movement issues include involuntary jerking, muscle stiffness, and difficulty speaking or swallowing. Cognitively, individuals may struggle with focus, memory, and decision making. On the more emotionally and psychiatric side, depression and mood swings are common as behavior and personality gradually change. And in general, Huntington's is a progressive disorder, meaning it worsens over time. Huntington's disease is purely genetic, meaning it's caused entirely by a change in a single gene, not by environment or lifestyle. The specific mutation happens in the HTT gene, which is responsible for making a protein called Huntington. In people with Huntington's, this gene has too many repeats of the DNA sequence CAG. Normally, we have up to about 35 repeats, but people with Huntington's have 36 or more. The more repeats there are, the earlier symptoms tend to appear. Huntington's follows what's called an autosomal dominant inheritance pattern. So, if just one parent carries a defective gene, there's about a 50% chance that each child will inherit it. As shown in the image, you can see an infective parent can pass the changed gene on to about half of their children, while the others remain unaffected. Overall, family history is really the main and only factor for developing Huntington's disease. Huntington's is a progressive condition, meaning it gradually worsens over time. Symptoms don't stay the same. Normally, they slowly increase in severity, often over a span about 17 to 20 years after the first signs appear. As the disease progresses, individuals may lose the ability to walk, speak, or care for themselves. As of now, there's no definite cure and no natural improvement, but with treatment, it can help manage symptoms and maintain the best possible quality of life. Because of this, most people eventually require full time care or support from loved ones or healthcare professionals. When it comes to who is affected by Huntington's disease, it can technically appear at any age, but it most often shows up in middle adulthood, usually between 30 and 50 years old. There are rare cases where symptoms can appear as early as childhood or as late as the 80s. A large review of 33 studies done between 2010 and 2022 found that Huntington's has an incidence rate of 0.48 cases per 100,000 person and a prevalence of under 5 people per 100,000. So it's considered a rare disorder. Europe and North America have much higher rates of Huntington's compared to Asia and Africa, where it's significantly less common. There is really no difference between men and women since it's not linked to any sex chromosomes. So there's about a 50-50% chance either men and or women will get the disease. One major barrier for people with Huntington's disease is movement control. Involuntary movements can affect balance, coordination, and muscle control, making activities physically unsafe or socially challenging. To promote inclusion, we can make a few key accommodations. For example, offering adapted or low-impact activities. This can help people participate safely and much more confidently. It also helps to provide extra time, clear instructions, and supportive staff who understand their needs. Two key organizations that I found that provide vital support for those affected by Huntington's disease The first being HDYO, or Huntington's Disease Youth Organization. This is an international nonprofit that supports and empowers young people up to age 35 impacted by HD through things like education, online programs, and inclusive activities like swimming and hiking, helping them connect and feel less alone. I think what's really cool about this specific program is that they also offer camping for youths, usually around 18 and up. The second community resource that I found was Huntington's Disease Society of America, or HDSA. This is the leading U.S. nonprofit dedicated to improving the lives of individuals and families living with HD through community services, education, advocacy, research support, and virtual support groups. A few interesting facts that I found about Huntington's disease that I thought really stood out were the first being diagnosis and how it's done. It's done through comprehensive clinical evaluation, looking at both the patient's family and personal medical history. Because it's inherited, understanding family background is a big part of confirming the condition. It's also common for symptoms to appear or worsen during times of stress, whether that be physical or emotional. One fascinating historical fact that I had to put in here was that Huntington's disease was actually the first autosomal dominant disorder where doctors could identify the gene and make a pre-symptomatic diagnosis. Another key point is that if a child doesn't inherit the HT gene, they won't develop the disease and can't pass it on to future generations. And finally, there are some exciting progress in treatment. In 2025, a new therapy called AMT-130 showed promise in slowing the disease progression. AMT-130 works by blocking the body's production of toxic Huntington protein, which causes nerve cell damage. It's considered a major breakthrough for a condition that's long been thought of as untreatable. Learning about Huntington's disease connects to my future as a physician's assistant by strengthening my understanding of genetic and neurodegenerative disorders that require long-term, compassionate care. It also highlights the importance of clear communication, empathy, and clinical knowledge in supporting patients and families while improving their quality of life. And here are just a few sources that I found to help me build this presentation. Thank you.